The engine hummed. Tires crunched on gravel. Another late-night drive, just me and the endless black ribbon of road. Headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating nothing but trees. So many trees. They seemed to watch, judging my every mile. Like tonight, I was just going through the motions. My life felt like this road. Predictable, monotonous, going nowhere. Divorce will do that to you. Rips you apart, leaves you questioning everything. The silence in the car was heavy, filled with the ghosts of what was and the dread of what lay ahead. Maybe that's why I saw her, or maybe I needed to. A flash of white against the endless green. A stark contrast that caught my eye. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, a fleeting illusion in the darkness. My headlights flickered, and there she was again, more real than before, a woman, standing on the side of the road, barely visible beneath the shroud of the night, like a ghostly apparition. My foot hovered over the brake, uncertainty gripping me. She was young, barely out of her teens, with an air of vulnerability. A thin white dress clung to her frame, the only spot of light in the darkness, almost ethereal. Her hair was long and dark, plastered to her head by what I assumed was rain, adding to her forlorn appearance. Even from a distance I could see her shivering, her frail body trembling in the cold. A chill snaked down my spine, colder than the November air, a sense of foreboding settling in. What was she doing out here? In the middle of nowhere, in the dead of night? It was baffling. It didn't make sense, dangerously so. My mind raced with possibilities. Yet something in her posture, the way she stood so still, drew me in, compelling me to act. Against my better judgment, I pulled over, unable to ignore the silent plea in her stance. "Get in,"
I said, my voice raspy from disuse, almost as if it had forgotten how to form words. The woman didn't move, didn't speak. She was like a statue, frozen in time. Her eyes, two dark pools in the pale moonlight, seemed to pierce through me, searching for something. They held a depth of sadness, of longing that made my chest ache, a pain I couldn't quite understand. I almost told her to forget it, to stay out of my car and out of my life, but the words caught in my throat. But then she moved. Slowly, she opened the passenger door and slid in, her movements deliberate and heavy. The air inside the car instantly felt different, heavier, colder, as if the temperature had dropped several degrees. The scent of wet earth and something else, something metallic, filled my nostrils, making me uneasy. I tried to ignore it, to focus on the road ahead.
"Where to?"
I asked, my voice barely a whisper, almost afraid of the answer. She didn't answer, just stared straight ahead, her gaze fixed on the road, as if she was seeing something I couldn't. Her hands, icy cold, rested on her lap, unmoving, like they belonged to a corpse. Water, or perhaps something else, dripped from her fingertips, staining the worn leather of the seat, leaving dark marks. I should have been afraid. I should have pulled over and told her to get out, to leave me alone. But I didn't. Something kept me rooted in place, held captive by her silent plea, unable to break free from her spell.
"You should have kept driving," she whispered, her voice a hollow rasp echoing in the stillness of the night. And then she was gone, vanished into thin air. The passenger seat was empty, as if she had never been there, the only evidence of her presence being the rapidly drying stain on the leather seat, and the lingering scent of wet earth and fear that filled the car.
I slammed on the brakes, my foot hitting the pedal with a force I didn't know I had. The car skidding to a halt, tires screeching against the asphalt. My heart pounded against my ribs, each beat echoing in my ears. My breath coming in ragged gasps, struggling to fill my lungs. It felt like a nightmare. A surreal vision that I couldn't escape. A cruel trick of my sleep-deprived mind. But the smell lingered. A constant reminder of the encounter. A constant reminder of the encounter, haunting me with every breath I took. Shaking, I grabbed my phone, my hands trembling uncontrollably, but who would I call? Who would believe me? No one. I was utterly alone.
I drove through the rest of the night, the darkness closing in around me, the image of her smile seared into my mind. I haven't stopped since, haunted by that night. Every time I see a hitchhiker, a chill runs down my spine. Every time I'm alone on a dark road, I see her face, hear her voice, whispering in the shadows. A chilling reminder of the night I learned the hard way. Some roads are meant to be traveled alone, with no one to share the burden. And some encounters leave scars deeper than the eye can see, wounds that never truly heal.